Agency Matrix is preparing to release the latest update to our software, and we would like to introduce you to some of its new functionality. These changes are primarily related to the evolution of our note system and are immediately obvious upon login. The new sidebar containing company announcements and the taskbar is visible on this and virtually every other page within Agency Matrix. If you click on Reports, you see the sidebar. If you click on Admin, you see the sidebar. If you choose a link to add policy types, you see the sidebar. That way, you and your employees are constantly kept up to date on announcements and any task which may have been added or changed. Notes are meant to be informational. You will no longer be able to add a follow-up date to a customer-related note. The existence of a follow-up date means that this is really a task, and will now be entered as a task. This will reduce the proliferation of notes and the chance that individual notes will be overlooked. It will also ensure that tasks which need to be done are done. As part of our release implementation, existing notes with a follow-up date prior to June the 1st will be closed. Existing notes with a follow-up date of July the 1st and after will be converted into tasks. Any remaining notes with a follow-up date of June the 1st through June the 30th will be left alone so that you can either close them or convert them into tasks. Note that the text for 3 notes is visible on my screen, each of which calls for action. Get photographs, get a registration, get a customer signature. Each of these should be converted into a task and the corresponding note should be deleted. Notes will now be limited to informational messages and inter-office communications. A new scroll bar will allow you to see all of the notes without the entire page scrolling, so you have constant access to the tabs along the top as well as constant visibility to the new sidebar. Announcements are company-wide, meaning that every employee in every office will see them. Announcements are maintained via the admin screen. Select the company message link to add, change, or delete them. Note that any changes that I make are immediately visible in the company announcement window. If there isn't an announcement, the company announcement window disappears and the taskbar moves up. The admin task is also the portal for maintaining task priority and task type, both of which are created, deleted, and updated from clearly marked links in the Custom Types box. As part of our implementation, we will be creating default values, call, follow-up, and quote for task types, high, medium, and low for task priorities. You're welcome to use these values, change them, or delete them and create your own. Now let's turn to the taskbar. Tasks are color-coded using half diamonds. Overdue tasks are marked in red, those due today are marked in green, and those that are due in the future are marked with blue. They're sorted in that order, so that overdue tasks are listed first and future dated tasks are listed last. They're also sorted in priority order. Look at the task due at the end of the month on June the 30th. The high priority task is listed first, the medium task second, the low priority task is listed last. Customer-related tasks display a customer name, which may be truncated to fit within the sidebar window. Hover over it to see the entire name. Those which are not customer-related display the name of the person who opened the task. When a task is customer-related, the name is a link to that customer's data. As you can see, I click on Andy Calloway's task, it brings up Andy Calloway's data. I click on Kelvin Chase's task, it opens up Kelvin Chase's data. The task text may also be truncated to fit. Hover over it to see the entire text or click on it to be taken to Task Edit so that you can update, close, or delete the task. Anyone can add a task. Click on the Add link at the bottom of the taskbar and a new window will open in the sidebar. If you're on a customer screen, the new task will default to that customer. Being on Kelvin Chase's customer data screen, my new task is defaulted to Kelvin Chase's customer number and name. I can override that by entering a different customer number, or I can delete it to create an office or personal task. A task may be unassigned, but it must have a type, it must have a due date, it must have a priority, and it must have a description. If you try to save a task with no description, you will get an error message. Since a task does not have to be customer related, you can add task for the office. Delete the customer number, assign the task to myself, make it high priority, and say run payroll. If you look in the sidebar, now you'll discover that there is a new task due on the 28th. That's today, assigned to me, from me. It says run payroll. You can also add personal tasks like make a doctor's appointment. Admins and employees who have switch office enabled can assign a task to anyone, but employees who cannot switch offices can only assign a task to someone in the same office. Admins have the opportunity to take different views of task. An admin can view unassigned task. They can view My Task. This is the default view, and the only view available to non-admins. It displays tasks that are specifically assigned to me, and those tasks which are unassigned. Finally, an admin also has the opportunity to view all tasks. The functionality under the Notes tab has been modified. When you add a customer note from the Notes tab, you're no longer able to enter a follow-up date. Note that the field has been removed. Customer-related notes with follow-up dates are now tasks. For example, I can add a note that this customer bounced a check on us. That's informational. I can also create a task to address the problem. It defaults to Kelvin's customer number, which is what I want. I can assign it to one of my employees, give it a due date, give it a priority of high since it involves money, and make a task description that says, have Kelvin set us up for automatic withdrawal so we know we will get paid. Note that at the moment, the Note tab says there are no notes. The Task tab says there is only one task. When I click on Submit, the note is immediately visible and has been updated to say 1. The Task tab now says 2. And finally, over in the sidebar, we see that there is a new task. It's a high priority task. It has been truncated to fit within the sidebar, and when I hover over it, I see the entire description. Have Kelvin set us up for automatic withdrawal. Unlike the sidebar, this new Task tab displays all tasks for a customer regardless of the employee assigned, regardless of whether or not the current employee is an admin or not, and regardless of whether or not the task has been opened or closed. The task in the Task tab displays the number of open tasks only. So when a customer calls in and an employee pulls up their account, that employee knows immediately whether or not any tasks need to be completed regarding that customer. Open tasks are listed first and closed tasks follow, so there is a visible history of task activity for that account. A delete button allows the employee to delete any tasks which have been entered in error or which are duplicates without leaving the screen. If I click on the task description, I can update or close the task. I can click on the task description either from the Task tab or from my sidebar. Clicking on it from the Task tab, I see the entire task listed. I need a copy of Kelvin's driver's license. I got it today, 06/28/2010. I can mark that task as closed. I need Kelvin to set us up for automatic withdrawal. Also got that done when he called in today. Mark that task as closed. The Task tab now says 0. The status on both tasks is closed. I have a closed name, and I have the date it was closed. The task has also disappeared from the sidebar, which only displays open tasks. Every change made to a task, whether it's added, changed, closed, or deleted, is captured in a system log, and we will add a means to view that customer log in a future release, either on-screen or via report. Since the taskbar and company announcement are visible from virtually every page within Agency Matrix, they offer immediate and consistent communication. Task will no longer be buried in a long list of notes, and the color coding for due dates is clear and visible. There is no excuse for an employee to miss a company announcement or to forget to do an assigned task. The ability to reassign tasks allows you to redistribute the workload as necessary. The addition of company announcements and tasks should help you to communicate and make sure that everything that needs to be done gets done. As always, we welcome your comments and suggestions via email at support@agencymatrix.com.